Stretch the hips to be more mobile and, at the same time, get rid of hip pain. Let yourself be surprised. After just one session, you will feel a huge difference. We'll start the exercises directly with one of the main causes of your hip problems. But first, a note, I'll show it on the left side. You have problems on the left side. You want to improve there. If you're having problems on the right side, then as you're doing it, just keep changing sides. And we'll start in all fours. And please first consciously go into a hollow back. And now you come out of the hollow back and make your lower back straight. And you try to hold that and come forward with the groin first. And lower yourself further and further. The feet are up. And you notice that it pulls over the groin, pulls in the hips, and maybe pulls in the back. That's all okay. Just make sure that the intensity of the stretching is never so great that it becomes too uncomfortable. It still has to be bearable. It has to be clearly pulling, but well tolerable. Then you will have the best effect for the time used. Let yourself hang. Keep breathing in. The exhalation always allows you to go a little further into the stretch. And now we always have to wait until everything gives a little bit, especially in the hip area. These are big, thick muscles and fasciae. They take a while. By the way, if you can't support yourself on your arms, lie your upper body down or your forearms on a couch, on a sofa, and just let yourself hang. That's the important thing. And now we speed up this process a bit and intensify it by tensing both knees into the ground as if we wanted to plow into the ground with our knees. Like a plow in the field when the farmer plows the field. Yes. Try to ram your knees into the ground. Not with a jerk, but with force. The more force, the better. Then let go, and you realize, aha! Now I'm going in a little deeper. And then again. You go down again with strength against the floor really hard, and let go and go down again a little bit. And now we put the right knee out, And you notice that there is a different pull in the left hip. Now you let the left side of the groin sink down again, but now it's different, right? Can you understand? Now we're in another area of the hip flexor, which has a lot to do with the fact that you have problems in the hip. And now, we're going to pull it further and further. Always let the whole thing develop a little bit first. You feel how it gives a little. Now press your left knee as hard as you can into the floor. Press in as hard as you can. Release the force and let yourself sink deeper. And again, left knee against the floor. Press harder. Press even harder. And release the force. And go deep again. Breathe and feel what is happening. If we loosen this area in the front, this hip flexor area, then you feel that half of your problems are already gone. Yes? So look forward to it and make a real effort to make something happen. And we press the left knee against the floor again. We push against it again. Stop the force and let's sink deeper. Breathe a few times. As I said, if you can't hold the strength in your arms, then lie your forearms or upper body down directly on the couch and let your torso hang, and squeeze again. Firmly, even more firmly, stop the force and let's hang. And then we come out of this position first, go into counter movement a little bit to bring the glutes and lower back up to length a little bit again. Now sit on the mat. Bring your left leg forward so that you have a right angle at the left knee. And pull your right leg back as far as possible and position your left hand so that you can push your torso to the right and back. So place your hand to the left a little bit in front of your shoulder and basically push yourself over in this direction with your body like this. And then you notice that you develop increasing tension in your left buttock. You feel it in the groin, you feel it in the joint, you probably feel it on the outside of the thigh. And breathe into it and try, if you can, to move your right leg a little bit further back and turn your right leg onto the top of your foot. Then you notice that the left buttock tenses even more. Keep pressing in this direction so that the stretch you feel in this area on the left is at a significant intensity that you can just about stand. And now press your left foot against the floor as hard as you can. And then also press your left knee against the floor. Left foot, left knee, harder and harder. And now also press the right knee very firmly against the floor, and all three forces even more intensely, and even harder, and even harder, and a little harder still. And stop the force, and further into the stretch, pushing yourself more in that direction again with your left arm. And then slowly come out of the position. Always move slowly, especially if you are doing it for the first time. Always come out very slowly. And always go as far into the exercise as you can, even if it's nowhere near as far as me or even further than me. Doesn't matter. Everyone goes at their own pace. Now you lean sideways, but put your right knee down. Now you get into a semi-inclined position, and then you notice that there's a pull at the front of the groin and the edge of the hip bone. Yes, you can feel this bone at the front of your hip when you reach into your jeans pocket. That's where it usually is. That's where it pulls over the front now. And you have to enjoy that because now you're renovating your body, or at the moment you're renovating your hip. Yes? It's a bit exhausting, but no pain, no gain. But it has to be just bearable without you having to counter tension or somehow tightening yourself up. It can't be, yes? It has to be just at or on the border of active, holiday, and work. We're on an active holiday, not working. Yes? Let it sink further down, and now also press the left knee against the floor. The left knee presses against the floor, And you press a little harder and a little bit harder and let go and go further down into the stretch. And because it was so nice, we push again with the left knee as hard as we can against the floor. Let it go and go even a little deeper. And slowly come out again. Slowly come out. And now we go back into that sitting position and put your right leg in front. Those who are working on the right hip, as always, just switch the side for each exercise. So now the left leg comes back. And now we concentrate on stretching the left leg back more and more. And trying to turn it onto the top of the foot even more than we did with the right leg. And we now try to push the torso to the left with the right hand, but above all to the back. And then you will probably notice a strong pulling in the left groin. And that's super good because we're working on the left hip flexor again, and it needs it anyway, yes? Because when it's free, your hip is already half free, as I said earlier. So press nicely to the left, but above all, also press backward so that we are always more upright when seen from the side. And breathe and enjoy. Yes? Find the intensity again that allows you to stay in it. Yes? That it's not too much torture. A little agony is important, but it must not be too much. It has to be just bearable. And that's the limit that you have to keep trying to find out where it is. One sign is that you can breathe well, that there is no tension somewhere in your body. And now you press down again with your left knee as hard as you can against the mat. Let your left knee go and come a little further upright and press down again with your left knee as hard as you can against the floor. Press as hard as you can. Release and go a little further. Come upright and then slowly come out again. Move nice and slow. And now we go into this supported side position again, but this time we don't put the knee down. If you have a finger free, it would be great if you showed your thumb positively. I have one hand free right now. Thumb positive, thumb up. Give me a thumb, yes? And share the video. Doesn't have to be now, but after, yeah? So that as many people as possible have free hips, especially older people, always have huge problems. Now, let's hang on the left side. And now you feel the stretch. On the left, at the pelvis, up over the pelvis, in that area. Again, if you can't hold it, keep it up as long as you can. And if you can't do it anymore, go perpendicular to the couch. Stabilize yourself a bit with your left forearm. Let yourself hang nicely. It's all about this function of hanging so that your hip becomes free. And the pain goes away. Stretching the hips makes the hip pain go away. There are also exercises for hip osteoarthritis, for example. Yes? That can happen less and less or even be reversed, but that's a topic for another post. Now press the left foot as hard as you can into the floor. Please press the left foot into the ground as hard as you can. Press the left leg down as hard as you can and even harder. And let go of the strength. Go deeper into the stretch and again press the left leg really firmly against the floor. Press even harder, a little more, give it a bit more effort. Come on, you can do a little more. I see that. And let go of the power and go further into the stretch. And slowly back out. I know that's intense, but we need that because you want to get your hip and pain-free and more mobile. Look, now you take your knees further apart and with your feet against each other. You could say praying feet, yes? And then you come out of arch back as much as you can and then go down groin first because we have now stretched everything. We have taken out the force from the front, the force from the back, and the force from the outside. And now it's about the inside. Yes, the inside of the thighs. The adductors, the short ones, the long ones, hang there and are usually much too tight. They'll be sorted out now. They'll be made longer and more flexible, to be precise. Let the groin sink. Pull in the belly button. And come down more and more. And now you press your knees against the floor. You press your knees against the floor. Even harder, even harder, even harder. And now I'll show you a special trick. Now lift both knees off the floor. Then you notice that you sink deeper into the stretch. Now you lift both knees away more intensely and you push again. You press against the floor again with your knees. Press really hard against it. A little harder. And lift them up again. Lift them up again. Lift them up even more and even more and even more. And you push against it again, but for the last time. And lift them up again and get a little lower. And now we slowly come out of it again. Move very carefully with this stretch. But you probably notice it yourself. Keep moving back. Again, go back a little bit. And finish. We'll stand behind a chair again. You can also stand in front of a windowsill or a table of an appropriate height. It's just about stabilizing yourself a little bit. Step your legs apart as wide as possible. And then move your weight forward. This now takes the weight off the heels. You move your heels out a little bit, then go back. This relieves the front of the foot. You can adjust the front of the feet and walk forward. Heel, back, front of the foot. And now you do this until you are back in the stretching intensity in which you can just about stand it. Yes, you see, I always go back and forth. And with each forward, the heels, and with each backward, a little bit of the forefoot. And so I feel my way. I would guess 5 millimeters at a time, further and further into the increasing stretch. And now we work on the long adductors. In the front, in this frog position, it was the short ones, and now it's mainly the long ones. But it also depends on which ones are shortened and how. Yes? Keep going into it. And now also here, you press the feet against the floor as if you want to bring the feet together. And more, and push even more, and let go. Go a little wider. By the way, the chair has to be stable, right? Not that you somehow slide the chair or something and slide off and pull your feet together again. Pull them together even more. Pull them together even more. And one last time, a little bit more stretching. And then we come out again with small repositioning steps. Important control exercise for the hip joints, like this. Now, feel your left hip joint. It should feel completely different, just as I promised. Maybe do this exercise every day at first, and after a while, when you notice that it's much better, go up to 3 times a week, twice a week, something like that, depending on your needs. And since I'm sure your hip health is important to you, you can find a video here about what can go wrong and what you can do. And here, you can subscribe to our channel, which would make me very happy. Then we'll see each other more often. Bye. Thank you so much for joining us.